Hey, hello, hi, I'm Ghosty, and welcome back to me, the Underworld, again. And if you already clicked on this video, then you already know what is going on and what this video is about. So, for Obi-Wan Kenobi, I already watched the first episode. If you didn't watch that, go watch it. Or if you didn't watch my video, go watch that as well. It's already up on the channel. Because this video is about episode 2, or part 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, I'm really excited for it, and I'm interested in seeing what continues the story of this 6-part series, I'm pretty sure. But for now, we have part 2. So, let's get into it, and I'll get back to this. Cue that elevator music thingy. Yeah, I meant like right now. Yeah, right, yeah, now. Thanks. And we're back. I watched the episode, and I loved it. This was a really fun and enjoyable episode. The first part was also enjoyable, and I really did like it. But like I said in that video, it was really only slow to begin with because it was the first episode and it was setting everything up. But in this episode, it was not slow at all. I think the duration of the episode and the length of it wasn't even in my mind at like the entire point. I wasn't even thinking of it because I was just watching it and I was fully embracing myself into it. Or embracing? That's not the word. Doesn't really matter what the word was. But I was just taking it all in. And I really loved it. It was a really good episode. So, I'm not sure where to start. I will say for one, before this leaves my mind, is that I love Star Wars, obviously, but especially when they get into the small things. Like, the entire Star Wars series follows the almighty, legendary, like, Chosen One, and the most powerful characters in existence of Star Wars, and, you know, like the Skywalker saga. It displays the main characters that occur in the story, the Chosen One, the almighty Emperor, and everything along them lines. And I really like when really anything, but mostly Star Wars, really homes in on the civilizations and like small scale stuff in the Star Wars universe. I really like it. I like seeing the world building as well. I really like it. I was gonna say the same thing for Mandalorian if I made videos on that, but the channel wasn't up and I wasn't making videos around that time. But the Mandalorian was the first thing to do that, and I just really enjoyed it. When it's a much smaller scale kind of like situation, and it's not much of a larger scale like it is with the Chosen One and the Skywalker saga. I really do like that stuff, but it's always cool to see this like smaller scale stuff as well, which is what I'm trying to say. And this episode really homed in on that, and I think it did a phenomenal job with it. Of course, we see Kenobi still keeping it low key and hiding himself. And now in this episode, we basically get an entire like city search, a planet-wide or just city search. This whole entire area is searching for Kenobi. Because now that, well, aka Ben is what he named himself, as like an alias, you know, to hide his true Jedi self. Everyone's on the search for Obi-Wan Kenobi. So this like entire like citywide search is going on, and Kenobi has to keep it low key just in general in the entire episode. Another thing that happens in this episode is that Kenobi actually gets Leia back, which I didn't expect. I thought, like I said in the first video, I thought the entire duration of the plot was going to be not only the Inquisitors and Kenobi being hunted and searched for, but I thought it would also be Obi-Wan's like journey trying to find Leia and like get her back. But I was wrong, and I'm kind of glad because I thought it would stretch out the entire like duration of the show, which I don't mind if she's in it for the entirety of the show, or like, you know, here and there. I don't mind it, but I do think that was going to be the entire plot. But now it's getting more into Kenobi versus the Inquisitors and this like galaxy-wide search for, you know, this powerful Jedi that is Kenobi. So I'm glad it's going in that direction more. But we'll see. He could lose Leia again in a second, in an instant. We'll see next episode. But as of right now, he has her in his hands, and she knows him. She trusts him. Mid-episode, or maybe towards the end of it, like mid-episode, Leia is like out of nowhere, is like, oh, you're not who you say you are you? Like, you're a wanted man. You're probably a bad person, which is, you know, smart of her. She's 10 years old, she says, and Kenobi says, like, oh, wow, you don't act like 10 years old, which is completely right. She does not act like 10 years old, but I guess that's what's expected from, you know, a daughter of a royal family. But anyways, she's like, you're a wanted man, probably a bad person or whatever. So she does quick thinking and decides to run away and leap off rooftops, which was a pretty cool sequence. But then we get one of them like slow motion like runs, like a POV shot, not a POV shot, but like a shot right in front of her face where she's running around. I don't know, it's just funny because it's kind of slow motion at times, but I guess it makes sense. She's a child and she's short, and we're trying to see it out of her perspective, kind of thing. Not really too much of a POV kind of thing, but we still see her as like at her height and whatnot. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but yeah, we had that chase scene, and then she actually does end up trusting him, thankfully, and then we get her going with Kenobi, and then everything else that happens. I will say though, I do enjoy Leia in this, and I think the actress was a good choice. I actually really have been enjoying her and seeing her for the most part. And speaking of actresses/actors, I'm going to bring Ewan McGregor up again, or Ewan McGregor, because of course he's Kenobi, and that's what the show's about. But he is just phenomenal, and I would never live it down. I will die on this hill that his voice is one of the most iconic things ever. I'm not sure if it's an accent or anything. It might be his normal voice, but I'm pretty sure it's not. But his Kenobi voice overall is just iconic, and that's really all it is. I just love it so much, and that's all that this point I'm making. That's all it is. It just his voice, and him as Kenobi is perfect. That's it. And then I want to bring up again the point of them focusing on like a much like smaller scale sort of story in this, and like this world and this planet in this episode. As that like I already said it's like really well done, but I didn't talk about some things like I didn't even think about before, which were actually explored in this, and it was amazing. We have like actual like criminals like about, and people trying to trade spice, which is obviously drugs. We have someone faking to be a Jedi, which is something I didn't even think about. But it's so cool seeing these things and things that would actually happen in the Star Wars world come to reality, and actually seeing it in the show and just take place. Again, that small scale stuff is always great to see. No matter what it is, it's always just a thing I adore in like these Star Wars projects. But yeah, that man was straight up acting like a Jedi, or pretending to be a Jedi. He even had magnets and his own tricks of doing things to make people pay him and scam people for trying to act like a Jedi and like get fame off of it and make some coin off it, which obviously worked. But hey, at least he was doing some good with it, at least. And then we even saw a clone trooper, which I did not expect to see. That was really cool to see. And again, it just makes it feel so much more alive, and I think it just branches out the Star Wars thing. Something so small does so much. Like really, no matter what it is, the small things always do a lot. Especially in like projects that really have care and love put into them, like this. And yeah, not only did we get that flashback of Order 66 in part 1, but now we're actually seeing the aftermath and the consequences that came with Order 66. So it's really cool to see. And again, it's the small stuff that means a lot and does a lot. And it was really cool to see it. The clone trooper really was asking for spare change, and he was been through a lot, and you could tell. And we're also seeing the Empire kick in, and well, at this point they've already kicked in, and everyone's getting used to them and learning more about them and such. And like the clone troopers we see, but like again, and we're also seeing clone troopers that are actually still around. And yeah, it's painful to see, and it has and brings a lot of emotion with this stuff. And Ewan McGregor, the actor of Obi-Wan Kenobi, really does shine in it. It doesn't really say much words, but he looks and he notices things and acknowledges stuff, and you can just feel the emotion like through him and just the scene overall. And yeah, Order 66 is a big event in this, even though we're dealing with the aftermath and the after events that's taking place. It's a big thing, and it's still like shadows over everything. Everything that everyone sees and encounters, something reminds him of that moment with him, Anakin, Order 66, and the fall of the Jedi. And overall, there's a lot of suffering in it, and they convey it on screen perfectly. I think they do a damn good job of it. And like I said, I can say the same with Obi-Wan. The actor does great, and Obi-Wan is just there, and whatever he does, he has to deal with his own suffering and deal with it in his own ways. And yeah, this was one of the things I was hoping for, like I said in part 1. I'm glad they do it, and I'm glad they really embrace the emotion and the pain that comes with this. The aftermath of Order 66, and of course with him and his own self. And of course some other characters we'll see coming up later. And also, before I get into the next thing, I want to say, trust me, I can promise you, I do not hate Obi-Wan. It's just good, and it's just a good show so far. And I like seeing it. I don't want to see him suffer or anything, but it's good, and it's good for the story, and the show is pretty good so far because of this. And it just has a lot of emotion and has a lot of effect. So, yeah, I don't hate him. But I am going to bring that suffering up once again, because suffering powers the dark side, which is a good way of transitioning to my next topic. Let's talk about the Inquisitors, and Reeves, I think her name was. I'm not sure what her name was, but the Inquisitors and the sisters and whatnot. I'm still not really sure how I feel about them yet. I definitely enjoy them, and I like them a little bit more after this episode. But like I said in part 1, I'm not completely sold on them. I really do not like Reeves, or Reeves, however you say her name. She kind of pisses me off, I'm not going to lie. And I feel like sometimes she's trying to be intimidating, and she's just not to me. Like, obviously, she does not hold back whatsoever, but I don't know if it's the actress or just her in total. Obviously, her actions speak intimidating and yell like, "You should fear me," kind of thing. But her words and how she words things and how she talks and her mannerisms don't really scream the same thing. They don't match up, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not completely sold. Inquisitor, though, from what we saw with him in this episode, I kind of liked him more, but we don't really see that much of him anyways. I guess I just got more accustomed to him and enjoyed his screen time more. I'm not sure, but we didn't see him that much because, at the end of the episode he kind of gets stabbed right in his chest or right in his abdomen. So sucks to be him, right? Well, at least for now, while he's impaled or dealing with that wound or whatever. Because I'm pretty sure he's not dead, but that doesn't really have anything to do with Kenobi because, well, he comes back in Rebels, or he's in Rebels, and that takes place after Kenobi, so he can't really be dead. So, yeah. But I kind of hope he comes back for the show at least, because I wanted to see more of him and him in action, in live action. It would have been pretty cool, but I guess we'll see when the episode comes out, and the next, few roll out, and we'll watch them. And then, you'll be back here, hopefully, watching me and hearing me out again. Which, by the way, thank you, by the way. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you for taking out the time of your day to watch my video. Thank you. Much love. Subscribe if you haven't. And, well, as I was saying, I just want to see him back. And I think it's kind of wasted potential. But not really, since he's already in Rebels. But his live action is already, or would be, kind of a missed opportunity. But we'll see, again, when the episodes roll out, and we'll continue to watch the show. But we still have Reva, which I actually think that was her name, Reva, as the antagonist. And of course, we still have our favorite, oh so glorious Dark Lord, Darth Vader, which will be coming up soon. And of course, if you've seen the episode, there's a little tease at the end of the episode, which we'll talk about, but not just yet, because I'm still making sure I talk about everything I wanted to talk about. But I think that might be pretty much everything that I summed up. So, and I'm talking in slow motion because I'm thinking while recording I'm talking. Before we get into that, which I want to talk about, and I'm sure you're all waiting for if you're watching this still, but I want to say Reva is probably on top of Kenobi's ass because of some past business, because I'm pretty sure she was a past Jedi that got turned to the dark side. They say that in the show. Or that's what Kenobi tells Leia, I'm pretty sure, if I am remembering right. So yeah, I think it's going to be some sort of past sort of thing with Reva and Obi-Wan. Because we still don't know why she's so, bloodthirsty for Kenobi. And Kenobi only. She has a murder boner for Kenobi only for some reason. And we don't know it yet. So we'll see. Oh yeah, and also, back to that scene with Leia falling off the building, or not falling off the building, but jumping rooftop to rooftop. But yeah, she falls off the building. I mean, if you didn't watch the episode, you would, or you should have by now, but you're here anyways. So, I don't know why. I know for a fact she doesn't die, and I knew it watching it, and for some reason it still got me, and I was like, oh shit, she's falling, and she's gonna, but obviously they wouldn't do it, and there's literally no reason to, when Leia is Leia, and Princess Leia, but it forced Kenobi to use the Force and really turn back to his Jedi self, fully fledged Jedi self. He used the Force, and then he was ready to use that saber too, if he had to. But then we get that scene with Reva impaling the Inquisitor. That I already talked about all that. So, But now, I think we talk about the moment we've all been waiting for, the ending teasing scene for the next episode, Darth Vader. And let me tell you, I was smiling from ear to ear like the Grinch, and I was laughing like a little schoolgirl, because wow, this scene was awesome. This scene was haunting. Reva tells Kenobi directly, because he's hiding out, whatever, and Reva tells him straight up that, oh, you don't know. Like, he has been hiding out, and he has had, like, contact hidden from everyone and everything, besides Luke and his family, since, like, Revenge of the Sith and them events. So Kenobi's been lonely, and he hasn't heard of anything. But, of course, there's this big, new, leader of the dark side, this new Sith Lord, literally the Dark Lord himself. And Kenobi hasn't really heard about it much, or he doesn't know who it is. Because he hasn't known. He's went a decade thinking Anakin was dead and that he killed him. And then that's when he went into exile. Whether he went into exile for killing Anakin, or just because he failed Anakin, regardless, he went into exile because of his own grief and what had to be done, and what went down between them two. And of course, probably had to hide out because of Order 66 and the extinction of the Jedi. So it makes sense. But Reeves tells Kenobi that he doesn't know, and that Anakin Skywalker is still alive. And it is so cool. It is so haunting and menacing, but, like, obviously, like, as a fan's perspective, well, Kenobi's probably shitting his pants right now, obviously, and so many emotions are going through his head right now. But for a fan, it's so, like, exciting to see it and actually hear them words. It's such, like, a good feeling, and it's just amazing. Especially when characters, like, seeing characters react to other things that, like, are big and important things that they haven't, like, found out about before or anything like that. Like, Obi-Wan didn't know for a decade, and now he's actually found out through Reva in, like, mid-battle kind of thing. We're trying to hide out, and she just drops this big-ass thing on top of him, and he has to deal with it. So she tells him that Anakin Skywalker is still alive. She doesn't tell him that Anakin Skywalker, the Jedi side, is dead, but he's, well aware of that. But Anakin Skywalker is still alive, and it is Darth Vader, obviously. And then it's just such a cool scene to, like, see. It's such a good moment, and such a badass scene. Especially ending off probably one of the best ending scenes, because it teases, as well as the next scene, as Obi-Wan is, like, thinking to himself, as everything is muffled around him. He can't concentrate on anything because he's only focused on that and what Reva told him. Everything's muffled around him. No sound, no space, no nothing. And it's just Obi-Wan's shot of his, like, eyes, and it boom flashes to Anakin in like a bacta tank, or now other known as Darth Vader, since Anakin Skywalker, in quotes, is dead basically, because now we have the newborn Darth Vader, or has been, like, the new Darth Vader for a decade now. There's not much else to say about this scene other than that it actually is, like, really truly haunting, but it's an awesome scene and it's done pretty well, especially for, like, an ending teaser. Vader's suit isn't even in it. It's just Anakin and his, like, severed body and, him all roughed up, like, before he gets in the suit or anything, whatever he does beforehand. But God, this scene was awesome. The words that Obi-Wan hears when he hears it about Anakin still being alive, to him having to concentrate on his thoughts but can't, because he can't focus on anything else besides that, and then the cut to Anakin, it's so well done. And I cannot wait to see the next episodes and the following ones after that. I cannot wait to see them come together and meet again. Oh, it's going to be so good. The show is not only has, like, good moments but good writing, but also is fueled by nostalgia as well. But I think they're doing a pretty damn good job of actually making it a good show other than just nostalgia purposes. So I think that's a pretty good thing, and I think that has to be said, like, out loud. But I'm not going to obsess over that scene for way too long, but that is where the episode ends, and that is the last thing I'm talking about, since I have talked about my thoughts for pretty much everything now. So that also means this is the end of the video. So, I appreciate you for watching. Thank you for coming and hearing me out for Kenobi Part 2, and be on the lookout for more, obviously, whenever the episodes do drop. So, again, thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you watching this video and taking the time out of your day to check me out and watch me. If you're new here, subscribe, comment, like, etc. And if you're not, anyways, subscribe, comment, like, etc., etc. All that common YouTube stuff you hear everywhere else. And thank you again. May the Force be with you all. And this has been Ghosty, and I bid you all farewell.